The Chinese government have been advising the people of China to buy gold and silver, even going so far as to produce television programs explaining the benefits and logistics of doing so. As we know from experience, the ability to print paper and credit money by fiat is a privilege held dear by governments, not something they wish or can generally afford to let go of. And the Chinese government are not generally renowned for kindness to their population, so there must be a payoff perceived by China for the future if they're allowing their citizens, and indeed encouraging them, to move into the safe haven of gold and precious metals. Here is my theory on why China is encouraging its people to invest in gold. I wonder if the Chinese government are going to, at some point in the future, allow minting of that gold into high-value coins denominated in their currency. There is a precedent in coins such as the Panda gold coin. This one, from 1982 I think, has a face value of 500 yuan, which is around $73. A person who bought it at face value, when 1 ounce of gold was only around 500 yuan, still has the nominal 500 yuan secured in the coin's legal tender, but that 1 ounce of gold is now worth close to 8,000 yuan. Heads, you hold your nominal value; tails, you make a packet if gold goes up. Anyway, a massive conversion of citizens' gold to legal tender would create a solid precious metals backing for their currency, financed by the savings of the population. It might also give them a real shot at taking the prize of reserve currency status from the dollar, as it would increase the Chinese money supply, the liquidity available to handle demand for reserve currency, without debasing the currency. Because converting investment gold to a legal tender coin does not debase the value of existing currency. The value is simply transferred from the commodity gold into the currency. For example, if Mr. Li in China buys 1 ounce of gold, and then the gold is converted into a legal tender coin worth 8,000 Chinese yuan, there is extra yuan money introduced into the system, yet no effect on inflation. Sounds bizarre, but take a look. Someone owns 8,000 yuan in cash. Someone else owns 1 ounce of gold, the value of which is worth 8,000 yuan. In this scenario, the gold is worth 8,000 yuan, but remains just a commodity. It's not in the actual money supply. Mint it into a legal tender coin, and the money supply is doubled. There are 16,000 yuan in circulation, yet no one has lost value, no one has lost out through inflation, as the total value on international markets remains the same as it was with 8,000 yuan plus 1 ounce of gold. This is how the Chinese might have a crack at creating enough money backed by gold and without debasing the currency to service the needs of the international market for oil and goods traded in dollars. Massive liquidity is one aspect of the dollar which keeps it in first place for reserve currency status. No other currency can supply the required amount of currency while still maintaining some trust. Not yet, anyway. And the whole exercise would have been financed entirely by this Chinese citizenship, slowly and without fuss. So no need for the government to announce its plan or be forced to pay through the nose for masses of gold to back its plan. In other words, there's no need for the government to say we're going to buy so many thousand tons of gold and watch the gold price do what it would inevitably do. Let's face it. Why else would a government want its people to save in gold? Can anyone give a good explanation or reason other than something like my own? If they can, please let us know. This is just my own little theory. I'd like it to be the starting point of something, not some kind of dogmatic final idea. Finally, a simple question. Would the above idea make the Chinese currency stronger or weaker? I say stronger. I think I'm probably right in saying that. Aha, say my detractors, but the Chinese need the West to buy their goods cheap, and a strong currency hurts Chinese exports. Yes, but what if What if the Chinese have already decided that the US and all are basket cases financially, and that demand from them is not going to return? What if the Chinese are intent on creating domestic strength in buying power to replace the US? In other words, to hell with producing plastic ducks for kids in Connecticut. Maybe they want to stimulate domestic demand, enterprise and buying power. There are billions of potential customers in China if only they had some buying power. Maybe this is the way. I suggest that the theory of China encouraging a massive savings base in gold to later convert into legal tender would work, and it would draw massive cash inflows to the currency from around the crumbling world. This would enrich the country's buying power and the people, allowing them to transition from low-earning producers for the West to consumers able to buy goods on the international and domestic markets with a strong currency. Incidentally, this would also help to create a new market for America to sell into, and others too, at prices which would at least keep the US workforce in bread, if not butter PlayStations or speedboats any longer. And it would stimulate the Chinese domestic market for its own goods. People would be able to afford stuff. It's just a thought. I can't guarantee to be right, but one certainly has to look for an explanation as to why China is a friend of gold and silver and precious metals, whilst the Fed and others seem to have a deep-rooted fear and loathing of the stuff. The flawed, some might say failed, experience of fiat currencies backed by nothing will certainly not have gone unnoticed by the Chinese, and they might just be eyeing the prize of reserve currency status for the future. Thoughts, please. Thank you.